Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2026-27 Budget Press Conference on initiatives under the ITIB. On the stage, we have Professor Sun Dong, Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Mr. Calvin Choi, Permanent Secretary for ITI, Mr. Ivan Lee, Commissioner for Innovation and Technology, Mr. Daniel Zhang, Acting Commissioner for Digital Policy, and Dr. Ge Ming, Commissioner for Industry, Innovation and Technology. We will first hear from Professor Sun Dong, and then we will open the floor for questions. Professor Sun Dong, please. Let's have a protocol first.
Good
afternoon, members of the public, media friends. Today is the 10th day of the Year of the Horse. I wish all Hong Kongers a good life and that our economy gallops like the horse. This year's budget continues to tie in with the direction in the blueprints for INT development. We will use INT as the growth engine to promote new quality productive forces developments. I will highlight several measures. On enhancing the innovation and technology ecosystem, a main measure in the budget is to develop AI+. Over the past year, we have enhanced the ecosystem for AI and have laid the foundation for industries for AI and AI for industries. Under Inno Hong Kong, 16 laboratories have been established. The $3 billion AI subsidy scheme has been launched. The Hong Kong Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Institute will come into operation in the second half of this year to support AI R&D and transformation of research outcome, and advise on the governance framework and regulatory regime for AI development. At present, our overall computing power has reached 5,000 petaflops. For the data facility cluster at Sandy Ridge, it will significantly enhance our computing capacity. The tender results will be announced shortly. To promote the development of AI+, from top down, the Committee on AI Plus and Industry Development Strategy will be established and chaired by the Financial Secretary to formulate strategies on developing life and health industries and AI. $100 million will be allocated to empower the transformation of public services through AI. We will also pursue the direction of AI training for all. We will allocate $50 million to invite public organizations to collaborate with tertiary industries and tertiary institutions to provide training for the public on AI. The new Life and Health Technology Research Institutes will pursue the 1+3 model involving the headquarters of the laboratory to be set up in the Hong Kong Park and the 3 branches to be established by universities. Under Inno Hong Kong, there are already 16 related R&D centers. Under the RAISE Plus scheme, that is Research, Academic and Industry Sectors 1+ scheme, 15 projects have been given support. And in the 3 major R&D parks, we already have 500 enterprises and organizations. The ecosystem is thriving. In terms of new industrialization, the new industrialization funding scheme has supported over 120 new smart production lines, drawing over $1 billion in private investment. The new Industrialization Acceleration Scheme, or NIAS, has announced its support for 4 projects involving an investment amount of $2.5 billion. Among them, more than 70% is private investment. In the next half of the year, we will lower the threshold of eligibility from $300 million to $200 million so as to benefit more enterprises. Within this year, we will also launch the new Industrialization Elite Enterprises Nurturing Scheme to provide targeted support for high-growth enterprises contributing to the development of new industrialization in Hong Kong. They will become the leading enterprises in our industry. The budget also earmarked about $220 million to establish the first national manufacturing innovation center outside the mainland in Hong Kong. The two third-generation semiconductor chips R&D and trial production line under the Hong Kong Microelectronics Research and Development Institute will commence operation this year. And two enterprises have received support from the NIAS to develop semiconductor chip technology and equipment with total investments of over $1.5 billion. We will conduct a study on the medium to long-term developments of new industrialization in Hong Kong, and we will consult the relevant panels in electrical on the measures. Now, on the emerging industries, in terms of aerospace, the Hong Kong Space Robotics and Energy Center under Inno Hong Kong will take part in the Chang'e 8 mission of the country. Its multi-functional lunar surface operation robot has entered the spacecraft prototype testing phase. The Innovation Technology Commission has supported several emerging projects. That includes the TMHK Sat-1 satellites developed by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and also the first low Earth orbit satellites developed by a local enterprise. On new materials, we will expedite the developments of the third Inno Hong Kong research cluster to focus on sustainable development, energy, and advanced manufacturing materials. Now, embodied AI represents a new racing track which combines both AI and robotic technologies. Now, we will allocate more resources to support the development of embodied AI technology to develop in Hong Kong. And to align with the country's strategy to develop quantum technology, we will allocate resources to support the development of quantum technology. Last year, we have established 2 state key laboratories relevant to quantum technology. Under Inno Hong Kong, we have also established the Hong Kong Quantum AI Testing Center. Now, we will pursue comprehensive growth of industries in the up, middle, and lower stream. We will also review our tax arrangements for R&D expenditures. At the medium level, the Raise Plus schemes has already supported 49 projects with $10 billion investments. Under the Innovation Technology Industry-Oriented Fund, we have already received 40 applications, and we are now reviewing the applications, and we will disperse the fund within the year. On integrating with the overall developments of the country, the Hetao Hong Kong Park has officially commissioned in December last year. The first 3 buildings in Phase 1 development have been completed. The remaining 5 will be delivered by the end of this year. And also, several overseas enterprises have already entered the park. The vacancy rate is only 20%. Now, we are now conducting a market sounding exercise through the park company. The response of the market is favorable. We believe that we can deliver the remaining part of Phase 1 in the end of this year. And this year, we will apply with the electrical to inject $10 billion as initial capital into the park company to accelerate the development of the remaining parts of Phase 1 and provide the necessary infrastructure while facilitating cross-boundary flow of innovative elements. Now, for the 17 Technopole, it is the strategic base of R&D development. The budget has announced that within the year, a dedicated company will be established, and $10 billion funding will be sought from electrical to take forward the development. Now, we are now formulating a phase-0 development plan according to the land sale timetable. Talents are necessary for developing R&D. So through STEM internship scheme, we provide 20,000 internship opportunities for students. Under the Research Talent Hub, we have already approved some 15,000 applications. The scheme targets STEM graduates to engage in research. To attract talents, the INNO Hong Kong has already attracted more than 3,000 researchers. The $3 billion Frontier Technology Research Support Scheme launched last year aims to align with the country's strategic plan for frontier technology development. We will continue to strive to promote the development of INT and develop new quality productive forces. We hope our work will be supported by all stakeholders so that we can make bigger strides. Thank you.
The floor is now open. Before you put your questions, please identify your media outlets and please limit yourself to no more than 2 questions. The male journalist in the 3rd row, please. Good afternoon. I'm from RTHK. I'd like to ask about the AI Plus and Industry Development Strategy Committee. You said that you will focus on embodied AI and life and health science. So what kind of industries are we talking about under life and health science? And what kind of products are we looking forward to? And regarding AI, how can we make use of it? It is said that the government wants to make use of AI to enhance their efficiency. So I wonder what kind of the bureaus and departments need AI to assist in their day-to-day work. There are some large language models that cannot be used in Hong Kong. When we want to achieve AI for all, can we introduce some more platforms to Hong Kong? Thank you for your question. This committee on AI Plus and Industry Development Strategy is led by the Financial Secretary. The ITIB will be the secretary or secretariat for the committee. You said, or you asked what areas we will focus on under life and health science. Well, we have great advantages in many different fields. Say, for example, treatment, diagnostic, and in therapies for elderly, we have achieved some great breakthrough. So we hope to continue to be the leader in terms of geotechnology and some other aspects. On development of industry, first of all, we have to leverage on our unique advantages, while at the same time we have to introduce foreign enterprises so that we can enter in some overseas market. Currently, we want to focus on advanced therapy and treatment, say, for example, cell therapy. When we have top-notch scientists that will facilitate our work in this area. Second, our healthcare equipment, our surgery robotics. These are the products that we are looking forward to. Regarding RAPES Plus, 15 projects under it are under the field of life and health science. They are rolling out products. So these are the areas that we want to achieve breakthrough in. On AI, the government is promoting the development of a digital and smart government. In last year's policy address, it was announced that we were going to establish this AI efficacy enhancement team. We will roll out several AI flagship projects. By adopting AI, we want to transform our government departments and enhance their efficiency. As for the large models that you talked about, currently, only China and US can develop real large AI models. So we're not lacking in this area. Last December, we rolled out the Hong Kong Chat large language model. In 2 months' time, we recorded some 700,000 users. I'm not sure if you've installed it. You can ask the Hong Kong chat about the budget or the policy address. Let's see if the chatbot can respond to your questions to your satisfaction. We will continue to develop collaboration and scientific cooperation with other advanced economies in the world. Thank you. Next question, please. The male journalist in the third row, please. Good afternoon. I'm from Govt News. You said that you will establish the Hong Kong Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Institute. What industries are you going to work with? We have many top-notch enterprises in Shenzhen. Will you work with them? Second, I'd like to ask about AI. Many enterprises, governments want to introduce AI. So I wonder if traditional roles or jobs will be replaced. Thank you. Thank you for your question. On the AI Research and Development Institute, we are just starting to prepare for it. We will announce the list of directors in due course within this year. Before we have the board of directors, we will start working on recruiting CEO of the institute from all over the world. As for the work plan of the institute, well, we have explained it to the Legislative Council last year. The institute is to promote the development of R&D, and we want to empower different industries and sectors through AI. The institute will advise on the governance framework, and it will also be responsible for nurturing talents. The Digital Policy Office will announce more details in due course. Regarding the opportunities and risks brought about by AI for all, as I said, AI is not just a technology, it's an era. Whoever owns the technology owns the future. Through our efforts in the past few years, we have achieved some success in R&D, talents, or computing power. I think that our efforts have borne fruits. The challenge that we have is to make sure that everyone in Hong Kong grasps the opportunities brought about by AI. That's why we propose this idea of AI for all. We're going to dedicate $50 million to promote education of AI. This is just our starting point. Currently, we have accumulated some experience. Say, for example, in the past 2 years, the DPO, Digital Policy Office, has developed a program that helps elderly people learn information technology. Through the park company, through NGO, public organizations, we want to nurture talents and enterprises. We are going to organize courses, programs, talks, seminars, competitions, so that everyone in Hong Kong can learn more about AI. We want to popularize it. Through these activities, we hope that people recognize the importance of AI. Thank you.
Next question, please. The gentleman in white on the second row. Good afternoon. I'm from Ming Pao Daily. Some questions for the Secretary. Now, the budget mentioned that it would review the tax concession arrangements for R&D expenditure. So what is the progress so far and what are the directions? Now, about the manufacturing innovation center of the country, there are some 30 such centers in the mainland, and Hong Kong's National Manufacturing Innovation Center will be the first. So why are we having this arrangement? What will be the difference between our Manufacturing Innovation Center and those in the mainland? Will there be collaboration? Now, the thematic project shall be semiconductors. Why and who are we serving? The last question is on the $10 billion allocated to develop He-Tao and Santee Technopole. So for the He-Tao Hong Kong Park, there are already 22 land parcels which have to be developed with market involvement. So how much public funds will we spend on developing the He-Tao land parcels? I believe the ratio would be small. So how can we attract more market investments? And what about the Santee Technopole? Thank you. Concerning the $10 billion allocated to Santee and He-Tao, that is a very crucial question. I would defer to my colleague. The second question, I would defer to Dr. Ge Ming, the Commissioner for Industry and Technology. Thank you for your questions, and thank you, Professor Sun Dong. In the budget, the Financial Secretary has earmarked $10 billion specifically into He-Tao and for developing a park company for Santee Technopole, which will lead the development in Santee. The two injections of $10 billion serve the same goal. That is to give the market a boost of confidence and shows the government's determination to develop the two areas. Now it echoes what the reporter has just said. The government's funds will be a leverage for attracting private investments in Santee Technopole and the He-Tao Park, and also for establishing an ecosystem to support startups. With a comprehensive ecosystem, we can bring about job opportunities and real contribution to the economy. Now, the reporter is right. By the end of last year, when the He-Tao Park was commissioned, 3 laboratories or 3 buildings have been commissioned, and there are already some 60 enterprises moving in. And there are 5 buildings being completed soon. And we are going to put those spaces for lease. Now, those buildings were developed wholly by the government. That would mean we can construct the buildings faster, but to ensure that there are sufficient contribution from the market, we have to move away from that approach. So for the remaining sites in Phase 1, we have already conducted an expression of interest exercise. As we have explained, we have received EOIs from different companies already. So for the first injection of $10 billion into He-Tao, the funds may be used to establish subsidiaries through the park companies. But we are still studying about the specifics. Later on, when we seek funding approval from the electrical, we will table the detailed plan for that. Now, according to the EOI, Many potential investors think that they would need to see upfront investments from the government for them to have confidence to invest in the park. So the $10 billion are very important, but we will reserve some flexibility for the park company to work on that. I am the chairman of the park company, so I will be responsible for the use of that fund to ensure that there is sufficient market involvement. Now, as the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, as well as the cyberport, we have learned that to make the parks a success, we need to have supporting programs like incubation programs or startup support programs to ensure that there are smaller players in the park for healthy growth of the ecosystem. So part of the $10 billion will be used for supporting startups. In the initial period, the park company may not be able to break even, so part of the money will be used to support the operation of the park company. So that's the use for the $10 billion injected into the Hetao Hong Kong Park. For the Santine Technopole, by the end of last year, we have promulgated the development outline plan for the Santine Technopole. And we agree that we need to expedite on the establishment of the park company. Now, the Santine Technopole is a natural extension of the Hetao area. So some larger companies with insufficient space in Hetao may extend their footprint to Santine Technopole. So within the $10 billion for the Santine Technopole, we will set aside a proportion for injection into the park company. Now, earlier on, we have invited the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park to make plans for the Santine Technopole, and there is also a program called InnoPole. Under the InnoPole projects, there are buildings for common use. So just like Hetao, the government will take the lead in constructing some of the buildings under InnoPole. But we will also take forward the projects through public-private partnership for expeditious development of the Santine Technopole. There will also be incubation programs requiring some funding. So that's the use of the two injections of $10 billion.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary. Regarding the second question, I would like to ask Dr. Ge to take it. Thank you. I will answer in Putonghua. I don't want to mislead anyone. I think you've done your homework. The National Manufacturing Innovation Center is a center that offers advanced technology and the company to address technological challenges and to promote the transformation and upgrade of an industry. It is a platform to serve these purposes. As you said, there are altogether 33 National Manufacturing Innovation Centers on the mainland. Each of the centers targets different areas. As to why we need to establish our own center, the reasons are threefold. First, as you all know, our R&D capabilities is an invaluable resources for our country's development. And it is the trend of our national development. Our country is going for technological self-reliance. Second, we also need to develop industrialization in Hong Kong. That's why we need this center. We are developing self-developed semiconductors. and we are planning for creating an ecosystem industry for that. That's why when we talk to our country's authorities in discussion, they supported the establishment of our first National Manufacturing Innovation Center. Our center has to be unique enough to serve its purpose. We have the Hong Kong Microelectronic Research and Development Institute. We have visited many institutes. We have talked to many experts, including ones from the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. That's how we confirmed the establishment of the center in Hong Kong. Our center will focus on the application of semiconductors. We focus on capabilities and high conductivities. We will also address technical problems. We will work on materials, systems, mold to serve the aerospace, smart power, advanced equipment, manufacturing, innovation, information, so on and so forth. At the same time, we have a unique advantage. We have the strong support of our country, and we are well connected to the rest of the world. So this is our unique edge. So I hope that you will pay attention to our development. Thank you. Thank you for Raymond's question on the tax arrangement. The government has all along supported enterprises in dedicating resources into development as well as R&D. That's why in 2017 we have amended legislation to introduce a tax concession and deductions for R&D expenditure. Eligible R&D expenditure will be eligible for 300 to 200% tax deductions. This is to encourage R&D activities in Hong Kong. So this kind of so-called super tax deduction arrangement is implemented to promote the development of R&D. According to the IRD data, every year we are receiving more and more applications for tax deductions on eligible R&D activities. When certain conditions are met, enterprises can apply for 100% tax deductions for some other R&D activities. As we are integrating into the country, working more closely with the Greater Bay Area, there will perhaps be more and more opportunities for collaboration on R&D. We will therefore look into whether there is any room for us to further improve our tax arrangements. Our ultimate goal is to encourage private enterprises to dedicate more resources on R&D activities. Thank you. The journalist in the third row, please. Good afternoon. I'm from Singtao. I'd like to ask about tax arrangement. Singapore also have some AI policies. Their tax deductions is as high as 400%. Just now, the commissioner said that our maximum tax deduction is only 300%. You said Singapore is going to dedicate $1 billion on AI development in the upcoming 10 years. So are we lagging behind Singapore? In Hong Kong, we tend to be more practical and pragmatic. We want to achieve value for money. Over the past few years, we have done much on AI. Now we have our own AI large language model. we have a very clear AI development strategy. We didn't have great infrastructures in the past. However, in a short 2 years' time, our industry park have over 1,000 AI enterprises. Many listed companies in Hong Kong are AI related. We have a clear data policy. We want to develop an international data hub. We have a great pool of talents. Currently, 5 of our universities are top 50 in the world in terms of AI, and 3 are in top 20. Our speed of development is rapid. Over the past 2 years, we already have 5,220 startups. Many of them are AI related. We have built many Inno Hong Kong laboratories. Under Inno Hong Kong, 16 laboratories are about robotics and AI. More importantly, look at our infrastructures. In the past 2 years' time, we went from 0 to 5,000 petaflops in terms of computing power. Very soon, we're going to invite tender for Sandy Ridge data center. After that, our computing power will be increased even more significantly. We will not stop here. We want to become a regional computing hub. We hope that AI will become one of our key industries. From the perspective of the SAR government, we are of the view that we have achieved some great results, although we are not promoting it as often. So overall speaking, I think that on product application, commercialization of AI, talent nurturing, number of enterprises, we're lagging behind the mainland. So I hope that we can implement this AI for all soon, and hopefully we can have more AI enterprises. However, we are a part of our country, and our country has developed so many AI and robots. No economies are like Hong Kong. By having our country helping in our development. Thank you.
Next question, please. Any English question? The gentleman in the front.
So you're sharing just 2 questions on AI and also on aerospace. With a raft of measures on AI essentially covering all sectors in Hong Kong, it's a more general question on if there's an execution plan or timeline, and what would you prioritize given it really covers everything? And how would you really measure the success or effectiveness of these AI plus measures? On aerospace, with the goal to develop aerospace industry in Hong Kong, what is the planned timeline? And again, what would you prioritize? Any incentives? What are the incentives to attract these firms, and whether you have any in talks already? Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question. You may notice that in the budget this year, AI or AI plus has so much space. Okay, our financial secretary has spent so many words to describe how to develop AI and AI plus. So first of all, I think the very, very important strategy is to establish a committee on AI plus and industry development strategy. This is a very, very important high-level committee aiming to formulate strategies and create favorable conditions for AI to empower the transformation and development of industry. Another one, how to empower industry through AI is a big issue. Okay, look at the past. Actually, Hong Kong SAR government has done a lot of work. For example, Hong Kong Research Cluster has so far founded 16 laboratories specializing in AI and robotics technologies. We have launched the 3 billion AI subsidy scheme 2 years ago, more than one year ago, to support the local industry, universities, and research laboratory to utilize government support to use our supercomputing center in Cyberport. Okay. We are in the progress of establishing Hong Kong Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Institute. The institute will come into operation within this year. This is a very, very important platform for AI research, development, as well as empower industry for Hong Kong in the future. Okay. So, and saying again about the computing infrastructure by the end of last year, the Hong Kong overall computing power has reached 5,000 petaflops, laying important foundation for AI development. Okay, so we are going to announce the tendering results for International Data Park at the Sandy Ridge very, very soon. Okay, with this important park, the overall computing scale in Hong Kong will be significantly increased. Okay. Regarding how to empower public service through AI, you may know the government has established the AI efficiency enhancement team led by the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administrations. Okay. So this committee will coordinate and steer the government department to apply AI technology effectively to their work, explore some process re-engineering, and promote technological reform in the departments. Okay. And as what I said is all up for the priority. Everything. Because when we talk about the AI, you cannot just, we talk about the AI research, we talk about the infrastructure. We have to do it together. Actually, that is what we have done in the past 3 years. Okay. Everything is very important. Okay. For the aerospace study, maybe now I invite the ITC Commissioner to briefly introduce aerospace study. Okay.
Thank you. Now, we've been supporting R&D in different technology areas, including those related to aerospace, all along under the umbrella of the Innovation and Technology Fund. Now, to give you an example, as the Secretary had mentioned in his opening remark, the recently launched CUHK Z1 satellite was actually supported by the Innovation and Technology Fund a few years ago. Now, in the past few years, we have enhanced our support for aerospace-related R&D. Under the Inno Hong Kong platform, we have supported R&D center under the leadership of Hong Kong UST, and also with the participation of 5 other Hong Kong universities. This R&D center will participate in the Chang'e 8 mission. It's a multifunctional lunar surface operation robot will be utilized in this very important space-related project. Also, in the last 2 years, we have launched a special call under the Innovation and Technology Support Program. And under this call, we have actually supported 6 different projects submitted by our universities with a funding commitment of over $100 million. So we will continue our work in this regard and continue to support those high-quality R&D projects. Thank you.
Time is running short. We will take 2 last questions. The gentleman on the right. Good afternoon. I'm from Hong Kong Economic Times. On AI, the budget has earmarked significant resources in terms of money and land for developing INT, but there is a lack of hardware. So what about hardware? Will the government improve our hardware for developing INT? Now, $50 million will be allocated for pursuing AI for all. But like other reporters mentioned, we don't see a lot of details on this initiative. And how can we ensure that the older generations are not left out? the focus seems to be on the younger generation and students. Thank you for your questions. The question is about the lack of software for developing AI. Now, over the past 3 years' budget and policy addresses, we have also mentioned AI development. For instance, we have allocated $1 billion to develop the Hong Kong AI Research and Development Institute. The work is in progress now. And also, many funding projects have listed AI as their focus. Many of our projects have pursued AI and robotics as the important direction. Now, having laid the direction several years ago, we are now looking to get real results. So that's why we are expediting our progress. Now, $100 million have been allocated to support the digitalization of government services. It takes time and space to develop AI. So that's where the Northern Metropolis come in. The Northern Metropolis will be an important platform for developing AI+, whether it is the He-Tao Hong Kong Park or the Centennial Pole. AI is the keyword for everything. So you have to take a macro perspective in viewing the progress over a span of several years. Concerning AI for all, as I said, this is the first time we have mentioned this concept. Since the development of AI has been so rapid, we have to ensure that everyone are equipped with the basic knowledge of AI. We have already made preparation to train up the public for AI.
Next question. This lady over the left, please. Secretary, good afternoon. I'm from Phoenix TV. On low altitude economy, I have some questions. It is said that we are going to, well, low altitude economy is not under our purview. Isn't that about INT? Because I see that we're going to focus on the R&D of low altitude economy in the Northern Metropolis. Say, for example, enterprises that need land. So for targeted industries, have you talked to them, asking them to establish presence in the Northern Metropolis? Thank you. In the budget, in terms of future industries, we have highlighted aerospace, embodied AI, low-altitude economy, quantum technology, so on and so forth. The policy bureaus will talk to different industries. They'll roll out many different policies, say, for example, low-altitude economy sandbox. Many sandboxes will be implemented in different parks, including the Hong Kong Productivity Council, Astri, Science Park, Cyberport, as such. We will pilot low-altitude economy in the Northern Metropolis. 2 years ago, we rolled out the He-Tao outline plan, and we proposed using low-altitude aircraft for cross-boundary transport and delivery. So the ITIB, the parks, the the industry parks and the DPO will fully support the development of the low-altitude economy. As our policies on this area mature, we will be able to support the relevant industries. So I believe that the ITIB will play a bigger role in this in the future. Thank you. Any more questions? The gentleman in third row, please. Good afternoon. I'm from RTHK. I'd like to ask about Shanghai Technopole and Hetao, the loop. You said that you want to instill confidence of it in the market. So what is the return on investment? So how significant is the multiplier effect? Second, on Hetao, you said that you want to promote a cross-boundary flow of elements. What challenges are we facing? Thank you. The Permanent Secretary will take the question. Thank you. We do want to achieve a multiplier effect. Let me give you some examples. We estimate that every year we should be able to generate $50 to $90 billion of economic benefits as Hetao is fully completed. We are only injecting some $10 billion. How can we achieve such a multiplier effect, you may ask? We don't just rely on the government investment. We also want to attract investment from the private sector. The Financial Secretary gave us many tools. We are not just injecting money. We don't just have land. On top of that, we have policy package. We may also be able to offer tax concessions for targeted enterprises and industries. These are the things that we can apply to in the Shanghai Technopole and the Northern Metropolis. So as long as we can introduce top-notch enterprises in the Hetao zone, we will be able to achieve the intended multiplier effect. It's hard for me to give you some exact figures as of right now, but given only the 3 buildings we have in Hetao, we are already able to lease all the offices out. We receive great response from the market. Under the Hong Kong Investment Corporation, we have many successful investments, so we are not worried. So it's very important that we adopt this infrastructure-led approach. We want to build all the facilities first, and we are now working with the Shenzhen side of the Hetao Cooperation Zone. Second, together with mainland authorities, the Shenzhen municipal government, we have agreed on a direction. However, as we're just starting out with the Hetao Corporation Zone Hong Kong Park, and many offices are under renovation. On cross-boundary flow of people, on biosamples, on data, talents, we have set aside capital for Hong Kong Park Company to build a warehouse or storage for biosamples. Different enterprises may have different demand. We want to establish the use cases first. So that we can explain to the market how biosamples, how data and goods can flow between Hong Kong and Shenzhen. I believe that when the Western Bridge is completed, the flow of different elements will become even more convenient. Now it's already very convenient for me to go to Pak Shek Kot. When the first #1 channel is opened, it will even be more convenient for me to reach there. I think that is more important for us to establish use cases so that we can implement projects. I'd like to supplement. There is some discussion on the Northern Metropolis, Hetao, and Santin Technopole. After the budget's been announced, I think that this is the most difficult time because there's nothing in the Northern Metropolis. That's why we have to make significant investment. In 2021, the government proposed the injection of some $10 billion to build the first phase. Now we are on to the second phase. We proposed this idea of public-private partnership on Santin Technopole. The government cannot shoulder it all. Our budget is tight. However, the government must make certain investment. So we are working with the private sector to build the second phase. When the first few buildings are commissioned, when people see vibrancy in the Northern Metropolis, I believe that the market will become more confident in it. Perhaps in the third or fourth phase, the government will only have to roll out favorable policies when the private sector will actively invest in the metropolis. So this is the time for us to invest. So hopefully in the near future, we will have some successful cases of investment to show the industry and the market so that they will be confident in it. Very soon, we're going to invite tender for the data center in Sandy Ridge. That's all for the press conference today. Thank you.
多謝。 testing。2026年2月26日演講廳錄音測試，OK，唔該。
歡迎大家今日
Welcome to today's press conference. This is the press conference on the 2026-27 budget initiatives under the FSTB. We're joined by Mr. Christopher Hui, Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury, Mr. Andrew Lai, Permanent Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury, as well as Ms. Selina Yan, Permanent Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury, Financial Services. Mr. Hui will brief us on the budget initiatives relating to the Financial Services and the Treasury Bureau. Friends of the media, Hong Kong citizens, good afternoon. Today I will introduce the major policy measures of our Bureau, that is the Financial Services and the Treasury Bureau, in the budget 2026-27 on financial development. Now, the global political and economic landscape is undergoing profound transformations. Despite the complex and ever-changing external environment, Hong Kong's financial market has performed strongly. Our financial system remains robust due to our advantages of one country, two systems. The stock market has shown encouraging momentum, with the total market capitalization rising to $50 trillion. IPO activities were vibrant, with continuous inflow of capital, which has driven the development of asset and wealth management sector. Hong Kong ranked the third globally and the first in APAC in the Global Financial Centers Index. We expect it to become the world's largest cross-boundary wealth management center in 1 or 2 years. We will continue to consolidate the existing strengths, tap into emerging sectors, strengthen market systems and risk control, as well as deepen financial cooperation in the Greater Bay Area. By doing so, we'll enhance our role as an international financial center on all fronts and contribute to the national goal of accelerating China's development as a financial powerhouse. To dovetail with the recommendations for formulating the 15th five-year plan, we have drawn up measures under the key themes, as you can see on the PowerPoint: promoting reform, expanding infrastructures, increasing capacity, and building connectivity. Now, on promoting reform, we are committed to enhancing efficiency and competitiveness through reform and optimization of market rules and regulatory frameworks. Regarding the securities market, since the implementation of severe weather trading arrangements by the Hong Kong Exchange in September 2020, the stock market has operated in inclement weather for 7 trading days. The trading maintained market liquidity while generating stamp duty revenue of about $2.5 billion, demonstrating the result and commitment of the reform. Now, to continue enhancing the securities market, the Hong Kong Exchange will consult the market in the first quarter on the revision of listing requirements for enterprises with weighted voting right structures, facilitate secondary listing of overseas issues, enhancing the IPO process, and provide greater flexibility for biotech and specialist tech companies applying for listing. We'll also implement the enhanced structured product listing framework and put forward specific implementation proposals for the settlement cycle of T+1 for market consultation in the first half of this year. To take forward the board lot reforms in the securities market, we will work with the SFC in the industry. We'll also launch the uncertificated securities market regime. In the next stage, we will enhance regulatory regime for listed companies, provide specific guidelines for overseas companies seeking secondary listing in Hong Kong, and offer more overseas markets as recognized exchanges. Now, the next area of reform on top of the securities market is the bond market. The SFC and Hong Kong MA will implement a roadmap for the development of fixed income and currency markets to promote issuance and liquidity, as well as expand offshore renminbi business and develop the new generation of infrastructure. To support the development of digital assets and application of tokenization technology in bond issuance and transactions, the government will provide guidelines to clarify that registers of debenture holders can be kept in the form of distributed ledger. We'll also explore adopting electronic signing of bond issuance documents and digitalization of bearer bonds. On enhancing the regulatory regime, the MPFA proposes to enhance the process of recovering default contribution from employers. Phase 1 proposal of MPF full portability will be implemented this year, and we will legislate in the first half of next year to extend the coverage to employees. The Insurance Authority will enhance the risk-based capital regime for insurance companies by adjusting risk parameters for general insurance business and providing capital relief for infrastructure investments. So these relate to the reform of the securities market, development of bond market, and optimizing the regulatory regimes. They come under the first theme, and that is to promote reform. The second theme is to expand infrastructures. We'll actively expand financial infrastructures to lay a long-term development foundation. The Hong Kong MA's CMU OmniClear Holdings Limited and Hong Kong Exchange have commenced a study on the establishment of a one-stop multi-asset class post-trade securities infrastructure to cover mainland and Hong Kong equity to facilitate collateral connectivity. CMU will establish linkages with central securities depositories of various regions, such as 6 of Switzerland, and launch equity post-trade services for the first time. CMU will also establish a digital asset platform this year to support the issuance and settlement of digital bonds. The Hong Kong Exchange's integrated fund platform will expand its services this year, covering fund sales procedures such as payment and settlement to enhance market efficiency and lower transaction costs. So these relate to expanding infrastructures, including the CMU initiatives as well as the integrated fund platform of the Hong Kong Exchange. The next theme is to increase capacity. We will increase market capacity and attractiveness through tax and product measures. On advancing internationalization of renminbi, earlier this month, we doubled the size of renminbi business facility to 200 billion yuan. We will promote more convenient foreign exchange quotations and transactions between renminbi and other regional currencies. The government will issue renminbi bonds on a regular basis and improve the yield curve, form the offshore renminbi yield curve, and attract high-quality issuers and also issuers in the emerging markets to come to Hong Kong for renminbi bond issuance. The government issued the third batch of tokenized bonds with an issue size of $10 billion, with the option to settle via tokenized central bank money. Hong Kong MA will also encourage more digital bond issuance through the Digital Bond Grant Scheme. Asset and wealth management. We will enhance our preferential tax regime for funds and family offices. We will expand the scope of fund to cover specific funds of one, as well as classifying digital assets, precious metals, specified commodities, etc., as qualifying investments eligible for tax concessions. We will introduce an amendment bill in the first half of this year with a view to effecting the implementation from the year of assessment 2025-26, subject to LegCo's approval. To promote the development of the REIT market, we will introduce a statutory mechanism to facilitate privatization or restructuring of REITs. We will also provide a stamp duty waiver for the transfer of non-residential properties into REITs seeking to list. Now, to boost our appeal as a platform for bringing in and going global, we will announce measures in relation to additional tax incentives and pre-approval mechanism for corporate treasury centers in the middle of this year. We will step up publicity on the redomiciliation regime. So far, 22 cases have been approved, and about 20 cases are being considered. To further attract enterprises to set a presence in Hong Kong, we have formulated a preliminary framework. Policy tools include tax incentives. The Financial Secretary will also chair an advisory committee on tax policy to draw up tax policies that can reinforce economic development. On building the international gold trading market, apart from the measures already announced, we will explore offering tax incentives to eligible institutions conducting gold trading and settlement in Hong Kong. We will help the industry develop a training framework as well. We will support the exploration with the mainland and international multilateral financial institutions of the establishment of a Hong Kong-based green technology products accelerator to provide incubation, acceleration, and empowerment services for green technology projects in the Belt and Road regions. We'll also explore facilitating financial institutions to obtain public utility usage data of enterprises with their consent to enhance the efficiency of green financing and risk assessment. So much for increasing capacity. The last theme is building connectivity. Now, on building connectivity and international cooperation, we are proactively facilitating and supporting the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank in establishing an office in Hong Kong. We'll hold for the first time the APEC Finance Ministers meeting this year. We'll continue to hold various financial mega events, including Wealth for Good in Hong Kong Summit and the Hong Kong FinTech Week and Start Me Up Hong Kong Festival 2026. The Asia Financial Forum will celebrate its 20th anniversary next year and will strengthen the element of finance empowering businesses at the forum. That's Finance Plus. We have signed comprehensive avoidance of double taxation agreements, or CDTA agreements, with 55 tax jurisdictions, and will continue to expand the network. To sum up, through these measures, under the 4 themes of promoting reform, expanding infrastructures, increasing capacity, and building connectivity, we will actively dovetail with the recommendations for formulating the 15th five-year plan of our country, integrate into and serve the country's overall development plan, and contribute to the national goal of accelerating China's development as a financial powerhouse. We'll consolidate our status as an international financial center to bring impetus to the economic development in Hong Kong and our country.
The floor is now open for questions. Please raise your hand when you're called upon. You're welcome to ask questions through the mic given to you. Please identify your media outlet you represent. Thank you. The one in green jacket. Thank you. I'm from RTHK. I'd like to ask about public finance. Regarding green bonds and infrastructure bonds, the borrowing ceiling is increased to $900 billion. Why do you think the administration has the capability to increase the ceiling? Is there any trigger? Under what circumstances will the rating be affected? Regarding the way for going listed for IPO, a lot of companies are waiting on the list. The industry expressed concerns over quality, so how can the administration ensure quality? What measures will be implemented? What is your assessment of the IPO market this year? Will it reach another peak? For the stock market this year, how will it impact on the operating account of the government? What is its impact on the local equity market? Thank you. Regarding bond issuances, we have been adopting a clear method, and our approach has been recognized by rating organizations. Each time when we increase the borrowing ceiling, we need to go through a mechanism. Each time we go to the Legislative Council for approval, the money obtained from bond issuances will not be transferred to the operating account. It is just for infrastructure. This is very clear, and it has been recognized. Regarding the level, as you mentioned, in the coming 5 years, in 2030 to 31, the ratio will be about 19.9%. Comparing with a lot of different advanced economies, this is a healthy level. It remains controllable. Regarding stamp duties, for this financial year, we have adjusted upwards the stamp duties to $99.5 billion. In 2026 to 27, the figure stands at about $101 billion. So we have seen an ongoing upward trend. Regarding companies going listed, of course, we want to see the stock market remaining buoyant. We also want the IPO market to stay buoyant. We are not just after quantity. We focus on quality as well. We have requirements when it comes to the sponsor. There have been communication documents issued by the SFC on the quality of information disclosed as well as the submission of documents. There are requirements and guidelines in relation to quantity. There are guidelines in this area. So we have communicated the requirements very clearly, and we believe this is conducive to enhancing quality and enhancing objectivity. Regarding going listed, in the future there will be legislative amendments. After going listed, a listed company needs to maintain a certain level of quality. They will also have to comply with some rules. We will work with regulators as well as the SFC to take forward legislative amendments. Hong Kong ex-SFC, they have been working on this front. They have given promises if the documents submitted are of high quality within 30 days, the listing application will be scrutinized and approved. This ensures the quality and efficiency of the application. The one in pink, thank you. I'm from Phoenix TV. Regarding the international gold market and the structure of the market, I have a question. There are views that we can roll out products that link to renminbi-denominated derivatives. Can our current infrastructure and the gold trading market support this? If yes, how can we take forward this initiative in phases? Thank you. Thank you. In the financial market chapter under the budget, much coverage has been devoted to promoting the internationalization of renminbi. This is exactly what you just now asked about. We are an international financial center, so what role do we play? There's a chapter under the budget. One way to promote the internationalization of renminbi is that we can provide even more renminbi-denominated products. We want stocks in both Hong Kong dollars as well as renminbi. We also want to broaden the scope of renminbi transactions and assets, say equity, gold, and so on. However, commodities and products are a little bit different. When we form an ecosystem, first of all, we need to work on storage. So for the development of financial products or commodities, we need to lay a foundation for their development. That's why in both the policy address and the budget delivered just yesterday, storage comes first when it comes to forming an ecosystem. In the coming 3 years, 2,000 tons, this is our goal. When it comes to products, Hong Kong X has gold futures, and they are thinking proactively to update such products. They are working on this. Going forward, as for over-the-counter transactions, say gold contracts, renminbi is definitely one of the products. We need to dovetail with the trend of internationalization of renminbi of our country. We enjoy competitive edge in this regard. Thank you.
Next, this reporter in grey. I'm from Ming Pao. Good afternoon. The first question is about bonds. This year, the government will issue bonds of a longer tenor. Now, in terms of the proportion of or health ratio of these bonds, do you have the breakdown for the short, medium, long-term tenors? Now, you're going to raise the ceiling of borrowing to support infrastructure development. Now, is there a cap as to how this condition can be maintained, or is there not a cap at all? And what about the use of exchange fund for infrastructural development? Which quarter will this take place? Now, about the use of exchange fund, Secretary, you mentioned that the financial markets are very sensitive, and if the exchange fund is casually used, it will hamper the confidence in the linked exchange rate system. Can you explain why the government has made this decision? Has any assessment been made in terms of the financial markets impact as well as the international ratings? Now, I think I made this statement when I answered the electoral question back in 2021. I cited the logic and the principles behind. I'd say that these still apply today. The point is we need to have sufficient capacity to ensure financial stability. And this is, in fact, the rationale behind my response back then. Now, the second point is whether we should make use of the funds during the pandemic to support our economy. My response was that we should avoid using the exchange fund to support, to pay for the operating expenses. And that is why on this occasion we have made it very clear that the money will only be used for the relevant investments in public works projects. Now, this is not the same as using the money for operating expenditure. So, in fact, I've adopted the same principles and rationale in replying to the electoral member's question back then. As for the timetable and other arrangements, I'll give the floor to the Permanent Secretary. The Financial Secretary proposes in the budget that $150 billion be set aside and be powered back to the Capital Works Reserve Fund to support public works project of the government. Now, this will be in full compliance with the Exchange Fund Ordinance. In other words, it is subject to the approval of the Advisory Committee on Exchange Fund as well as the approval of the CE in Council. So, as you know, the deliberations of the Chief Executive in Council will be confidential, so I'm afraid I cannot disclose any information as to the specific timetable. Safe to say that this will be complete in 2026-27. Next question, what about the impact on our international credit ratings? In fact, after the delivery of the budget, in the past few days, I have introduced the policy measures to many credit rating agencies, economists, and other representatives. As you can see, this is a well-balanced budget. And using the exchange fund will not be something of a regular arrangement. We are only using the capital for public works projects. On the whole, it's still well under control. And in fact, as far as the books are concerned, there is a general improvement comparing to the position in the past. So I suppose this budget is acceptable. Let's take an English question.
Host Kevin Lee. My first question is about bond issuance. The budget only gives a broad 5-year range, unlike past year clear annual breakdown for infrastructure, green, and also silver bond. Can you provide a more clearer breakdown? And will expected U.S. rate cut this year we expect U.S. rate cut this year, so is mid-year a better issuance window? And will the bond, the maturity will be beyond the usual 3 to 5 years? Second question is on stablecoin licensing. We see that Eddie Yu indicated that a handful of license will be granted in the first batch, and with interest mainly from local and some mainland firms. But major global players like Circle and Tether are absent. So what is the expected number or scale of the initial license, and why are the leading international issuer are not participating? Are the rules too stringent for the global applicants? Thank you.
Okay. I'll address the second question about stablecoin, and I'll leave it to Andrew to address the question about the bond issuance. As highlighted by the Chief Executive earlier in one of his earlier speeches, the applications or the licenses will be given out soon, next month. So in terms of the other details, I'll defer to the announcements in terms of the number and also at the same time the actual details of the approved licenses. And for the bond issuance questions, Andrew will take it up.
Okay. As indicated in the new budget speech by the Financial Secretary, the government is going to issue about $160 billion bonds in the new financial year. Although we have yet to decide on the exact mix of this bond issuance program, but judging from our experience in the past, silver bond is a designated a component within it, and about $50 billion silver bonds were issued in the past 2 or 3 years. I think in the coming year, the mix will be along this way.
好，下一個提問，最遠嗰邊黑色衫嗰位。
Next question, this reporter in black, farthest away. Thank you. I'm from Hong Kong Economic Journal. Now, my question is, as Secretary, is about trading and settlement of gold. It is said that tax incentives will be provided to eligible institutions. Can you tell us what institutions will be regarded as eligible? And what will be the form of tax incentives? Will it be in the form of profits tax concessions? The second question is about virtual assets. The People's Bank of China, as well as the relevant departments, have issued statements that as far as stable coins denominated in renminbi, as well as RWA, reports will have to be filed with the mainland authorities. So what about the policy direction in Hong Kong? Now, if we are to collaborate with mainland counterparts, will there be a relevant window for doing so? As for the exchange fund, the Financial Secretary yesterday already explained that this will not be a regular exercise. Now, what about the types of major infrastructure projects or the level of surplus in the exchange fund? Can you tell us the threshold for triggering this mechanism? Now, I will take the question, and then I will invite Permanent Secretary to take the other question on tax incentives for the trading of gold. Now, it doesn't just apply to gold trading. We have tax incentives for other kinds of activities as well. But as far as gold is concerned, we are going to go along these two directions. We're going to amend the Inland Revenue Ordinance so as to provide more tax concessions to single-family offices as well as funds, and we'll also widen the scope of eligible investments to include gold trading and precious metal trading, so as to attract family offices and funds to set up presence in Hong Kong. But we do not specifically require that such precious metal trading, including gold trading, must be related to Hong Kong. As for eligible institutions undertaking gold trading and settlements in Hong Kong, we are exploring the introduction of tax incentives. But this is just a study. We have yet to announce the details. The goal is not only to promote the development of the assets market, but also to focus on the development of the gold market in Hong Kong. So this is our policy consideration. To take the second question about the overall policy on digital assets. In the past few years, we published 2 policy statements. These statements are about the development of a reliable, credible, and stable digital assets market in Hong Kong, and our stance remains the same. We're drawing up a roadmap to allow eligible products and services to enjoy the relaxation measure. So we're going along this direction. I will let Andrew to take the third question.
Thank you. The main function of the exchange fund is to safeguard the stability of the Hong Kong dollars. That's why under the exchange fund ordinance, it is set out very clearly that if the Hong Kong government will have to transfer capital in the exchange fund, first of all, 2 principles will have to be confirmed. So this time round, the Financial Secretary made the decision to transfer $150 billion to transfer to the fund. We have already met the relevant requirements. Regarding whether there is any indicator, as the FS said, this is not a regular mechanism. Thank you. In the last row, the reporter in black.
Hello, this is RTHK English. So the first question is, the Financial Secretary said that the use of the Exchange Fund for Infrastructure Development isn't going to be a regular move. But can you explain more under what scenarios going forward might the government consider using the fund again? And the second question is, given that over the next 5 years, bonds issued would exceed $900 billion, has the government considered whether that might affect Hong Kong's credit ratings? Thank you.
On the first question, I think we have already answered a few times in terms of the considerations and also the process and also the overall approach that we are taking with regard to this transfer of funds. So I'm not going to repeat the details here. That's number one. And number two, I would say in terms of the overall perception or the views of the credit agencies, among others, towards the overall financial or fiscal standing of the government. As I highlighted earlier, if you look at the overall feedback that we have been given throughout these meetings that we had with them since the announcement of the budget, people generally see us in a very prudent, at the same time, sustainable manner. At the same time, if you look at how we approach the finances, basically we are subject our bond issuance level to our legislative approval. At the same time, we are only channeling the bond issuance proceeds to the works projects. And all these, I would say, differentiate us from many other economies where they are facing lots of fiscal issues.
Maybe I would also like to clarify that the Financial Secretary is proposing that we are to raise the bond issuance ceiling to $900 billion. That is the ceiling. We are not going to exceed it. As to whether an exact amount to be issued in the coming 5 years, we will depend on our physical situation and also the progress of capital works projects each year. And in case we need to change this ceiling, we need to get the approval from the Legislative Council.
就住外匯基金，頭先大家問咗好幾個問題。
Just now, some reporters have already asked multiple questions about the exchange fund. Are there any other questions? Thank you. The reporter in the last row. In the lighter top. Thank you. I'm from Now TV. In this financial year, there is a projected surplus of $2.9 billion. Is this an international practice to include bond issuances? Have you taken a look at the market? Have you taken into account the market situation? Are you worried that the public may think that the government is borrowing money and take it as revenue? Regarding the exchange fund, just now you mentioned there are two principles for the capital transfer. So what are the assessments? Why five years ago you didn't meet the requirements, whereas this year you have met the requirements? You said that this would not become the trend, but how can you make sure that this will not be the case? Thank you for your questions. Regarding using exchange fund, we tread very cautiously. Financial stability is indeed a factor. As I mentioned, we need to ensure that our public finances are stable. And under the exchange fund ordinance, it is set out clearly that we first of all need to meet this requirement before we can effect a capital transfer. And the exchange fund is only used to subsidize infrastructure projects. After we have infrastructure, then we can diversify our economy. We can also develop different industries. This will enhance the resilience of the local economy. So, however, you look at this issue, this is still a very prudent practice, any way you slice it. Regarding bond issuance arrangements, we have been using cash. Now, there are two accounts that are public, one accrual basis, the other one is cash basis. So we put the revenue from bond issuances into the cash flow account. This has been our practice. This is also the usual practice in different economies. Mr. Lai, I'd like to add something. the accounting practices of the government is always the cash basis. Anything we received is put into the cash account, and we have never changed this practice. From the perspective of accounting management or financial management, there is a high level of transparency. In the budget delivered by the Financial Secretary, we told you very clearly that we had issued 155 billion of bonds. And our surplus of $2.9 billion is the result after our bond issuances. We level with the public. We give you very transparent information. Thank you. The reporter in front, the one in darker clothes. Good afternoon. I'm from Wenhui Pao. I'd like to ask about the exchange fund as well. Just last month, on the 28th, it was announced that the exchange fund had made a lot of money or funds. Somebody asked whether there would be investments in the North Metropolis, and the answer was in the negative. Somebody also asked whether someone would, whether gold would be held. Last month, you said that that would go against the principle of the exchange fund. What about now? Is your decision in line with the purpose of using the exchange fund? There are short-term debentures, bonds. However, for projects of the Northern Metropolis, they are probably going to last as long as 10 years or even 20 years. My next question is that you are going to use the money from the exchange fund to fund works in the Northern Metropolis. What is your priority of the funds? Is it last resort? Does it mean that for other fund sources they aren't doing very well? Does it also point to a lack of participation of the private sector? I have another question, not about the Northern Metropolis. The Hong Kong IC, as mentioned yesterday, would team up with different industries to invest in commercial and residential properties. But I'm none the wiser. What does it mean? Are they going to derive rents from commercial projects? They should have government parks if they are going to use the premises for their own purposes. But the Hong Kong IC said that they would have to use these premises for INT. Does it mean that it goes against the principle? Well, I will take your question first. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Regarding the exchange fund, it exists because we want to maintain financial stability. That's why assets within the exchange fund need to be of a certain level of liquidity. If we are going to transfer the surplus of the exchange fund, we aren't extracting all of the funds. There is still positive growth of the exchange fund. And what is the use of the funds? If it is a case of capital transfer, it is going to be used for our long-term investment. It doesn't affect the fact that the exchange fund needs to stay liquid.
Well, let me take the other two questions. I'd like to raise a point of information about the Northern Metropolis and the financial arrangement. As you know, Northern Metropolis is a mega project. It spans a very long period of time, and that is why we take multiple prongs in raising funds. First, we sell land in order to generate income to pay for this project. However, land revenue dropped in the past 2 or 3 years, and that's why we raised funds through issuing bonds. In this budget, we propose transferring $150 billion to the Capital Works Reserve Fund in order to support the Northern Metropolis and other infrastructure investments in the coming 2 years. At the same time, the government encourages private sector participation. Now, the government has adopted a new thinking in land grant issues such as Hong Shui Q. We adopt a large-scale disposal approach to encourage private sector's participation. There will be industrial as well as residential developments. As for the Sandy Ridge data centers, we are going to announce the tender results very soon. That is how we optimize the use of market resources to promote the development of Northern Metropolis. Now, as for the Hong Kong Investment Corporation, I think you're referring to paragraph 216 of the budget. Now, according to the Financial Secretary, the Hong Kong IC will work with the private counterparts on the long term so as to channel funds into high-quality commercial property projects. This is based on two considerations. First, in recent years, the commercial property market has been quite quiet. There is a lack of interest. So if we're able to introduce regional and international capital this to our economy, this can bring impetus to the market. For industries and companies which would like to set a presence in Hong Kong, if they invest in properties, this will also bring synergy to the development in general. Next, I'm from Hong Kong 01. Another reporter asked about the reason for transferring funds from the exchange fund to support the infrastructure development. Now, you mentioned that there are some quantitative standards that have been met. Can you tell us what they are? Now, in the future, if, again, these criteria are met and financial stability is ensured, will you consider transferring funds out of the exchange fund again? In fact, as I replied just now, the quantitative indicators or standards is just one of the factors of consideration. Now, we consider the matter itself, including whether we should go ahead with it and when we should do it, and to what extent. So we proposed transferring $150 billion on this occasion, but in fact, last year we recorded an income of over $300 billion. So taking that into account, we do register positive growth in the income for the exchange fund. Now, whether this transfer will happen again, in fact, the Financial Secretary already explained in great detail. The overall objective is to support the development of the Northern Metropolis as well as the industries, and that we can have multiple sources of funds. And that is why in terms of capital, you notice we have different sources. Apart from raising funds through bonds, we also have different approaches. For example, we will encourage collaboration between developers and industrial companies so that they can participate in the Northern Metropolis project. And we also have policy tools such as preferential tax arrangements, such as halving the profits tax or 5% profits tax. All these are put in place with a view to encouraging participation in the Northern Metropolis by multiple parties. And only by doing so will we be able to ensure that there will be multi-party participation and that we can take forward development expeditiously. If there are no other questions, that's the end of the press conference. Thank you.